Well, hello, Nina Tulio. You are on the Beauty Pro Podcast.
I'm excited. I'm pumped for our conversation today.
I am so happy that you are here. When I sent you a message, I was kind of like, man, she's not going to see it because she is a busy lady, but let me just try. And you did. And I'm very honored. So thank you.
Good. Yeah, thank you.
We're just gonna jump in, and I know you talk a lot about how, you were in debt
Hmm.
as a salon owner, and that was like that was it. That was your final straw. And I want you to just, if you could, share a little bit of your story and how you got there and how you got out.
Yes, so that was probably one of the hardest times of my life. I was a salon owner. I was moving into my fifth year at that point, and I got there because I was spending money haphazardly when it came to marketing. I was throwing money into ads and ad spend that were not bringing a return on investment in my business. I was also, I had not yet healed my relationship with money or my money story. So I was continuing to live and repeat the patterns that I was taught when it came to money. We grew up, with nothing. So that
Mhm.
was kind of my thought process, even though I would keep saying like, I'm not going to be like my mom and dad. I'm going to change. I'm going to change. Well, I didn't put the change of my own patterns and behaviors behind that. So I found myself in the same situation and being broke and having a salon with employees that relied on me to keep my salon open. And I was also spending money to fill a void, because there were a lot of things, like a lot of us, we've just been through a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, things that I had stuffed down. And I just started spending money to kind of help me navigate. And so with that, and then the culmination of spending money on marketing, I was like, I just got myself in this hole of $90,000 of debt. And it was during the height of the recession of 2009, 2010. So it was a really, really hard time. And I had to make some drastic measures, make some
Mhm.
drastic decisions to keep my business. And one of them was to sell my home to keep my salon. And so, when you say, how did you get out of it? The best advice that I can give and what I did for myself was own my own shit. Like
Mhm.
you have to take accountability for what is going on in your business. And when I talk a lot about holding up the mirror and looking at yourself,
Mhm.
like really looking at yourself, and that's what I did. And I was like, what the actual F are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? Like, you've got to stop this cycle. You have people who are relying on you. And I had those hard conversations with myself. I really dug very deep and I just hit it super hard in my business. I got involved heavily in my community with my team. They were a big part of the growth. And we started hitting chamber events. We were networking. We were on social media. We were just out and about. And I became very clear on my message and my mission and my brand and who I was and who I wanted to be with me and work with me. And I just hit it really hard with my team. And we were fortunate enough to grow about 20 to 30% year over year till I sold my salon 6 years later. And I was very fortunate enough to get out of the debt, but that debt took me a good 5 years to get out of. So if people are struggling, because there's a lot of
Mhm.
things going on right now, there's a lot of consumer behavior shifting, there's a lot of change, and we're inclined to typically go back to our emotional home, which for a lot
Mhm.
of us is discount, discount yourself, discount your talent, reduce prices. Um, and I want to scream that loud and clear. When I was in the depths of all of this mess, when I was so broke and I was sick and I wasn't eating and I was literally wondering how I was going to cover my bills and cover my payroll, not one time did I ever think I'm going to decrease my prices. So if you
Mhm.
are in it and you're feeling it and you're feeling the pressure, focus on your value, focus on your uniqueness, focus on your brand and the relationships that you have with your clients. That's what saved our business, saved my business. And get out of that space of I have to discount because you will have to climb out of that later and it will be difficult for you. So that's kind of the long and the short of that whole
Mhm.
situation, which is it was a big moment and I keep it close, keeps me very
Yeah.
humble and very grounded.
Absolutely. In that, I know you mentioned so many good points. So when in this industry, we're however you want to look at it, we are kind of on stage with our clients every single
Mhm.
day.
Sure.
And so, but what affects us at home is going to translate to what's happening in the salon. And
Absolutely.
so, your team, did you at any point let your team know, like, this is what's happening, guys? We need to get this going.
Oh, absolutely. I had to because creditors were calling my salon threatening to take my furniture. I mean,
Mm,
it was bad.
wow.
And
Okay.
so, yeah, part of the owning it and part of taking accountability was saying I screwed up
Yeah.
to my team. Part of that was letting them know, like, I screwed up, and if I let you down in any way, I'm sorry, but I am going to do whatever it takes to make it right. And that's when I decided to sell my home. Um, and I was very fortunate enough that the guy that I was renting my salon from also had a beautiful home up the street from the salon that he had turned into apartments. And he, let me move in there, and the rent was, probably a fraction of what I was paying for my mortgage. And so he was like a lifesaver. And,
Mm.
I always feel like you find those people in your life and they take a chance on you. And he took a risk on me just even moving into the salon that I moved into, because I was
Yeah.
already in debt at that time when he took me on into his space. And so, yeah, I mean, I think transparency. Now, the team doesn't need to know all the ins and outs.
Mm-mm.
I think it's important to share what it costs to open the doors, but it's not their responsibility to worry about payroll and worry about where the money's coming from. But yeah, they should have knowledge on what that looks like. I think communication and transparency is key when it comes to being a salon owner and managing and leading a team.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And something that I tell even my own coaching clients and stuff like that is owning a business is the biggest like personal development task you could ever have. And
Hmm.
during that time, were you doing any kind of coaching or therapy for yourself, for your own well-being?
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I've been in therapy since I'm 21.
Okay.
And that was a lifesaver.
Yeah.
But I've always been into healing myself because of some of the things that I've endured and some of the traumas. I've always been on a healing journey,
Mm,
whether it is through deeper work when it comes to therapy, when it comes to, trying different techniques and things in therapy. I've always been open to those things. And even more on the spiritual side, like
mm,
doing more Reiki or spending more time with breath work, or yoga was a really big therapy for me. I was going to yoga 4 or 5 times a week just to kind of like move my body.
yeah.
But yes, and the support of my friends and my family is always crucial. I'm so fortunate that I have amazing friends, and a core group of them, about six of them I've had for over 25 years now, since high
Mm,
school. So, that is also important. You have to surround yourself with people that you can be yourself in and be in your most vulnerable moments. But one thing I will add too is make sure that you have other business owner friends. Like, I
mm,
had a really good core group of owner friends that were not in my industry. One was from next door. She owned a jewelry store. The other guy was a sign guy. He was across the street and he was just funny as hell. And, we could just shoot the shit. Another one of my friends, she owned a kitchen and bath redesign business. Like, and that was part of being in the chamber and getting to know different people. Like, you have to know people in the industry, but step outside of the industry too, and just have business owner friends that truly understand what it means to run a business, because it is so rewarding, but it's so freaking hard. It is
mm.
so hard.
Yeah. So, what made you choose this industry like besides other ones? Like, why did you become a hairdresser?
It was either I was going to be a dolphin trainer,
What? Okay.
I was going to be a dolphin trainer, or I was going to be a hairstylist. And when I found out that I had to go to college, and literally go to college for 4 years, I was going to have to share a dorm with people and share showers. I was like, no, immediately no. There's just no way I could do that. It's just not my vibe.
Okay.
I was never good in school. I was never a great student.
Mhm.
It just wasn't going to be for me. But I always had in my heart and soul that I wanted to be a hairstylist. But I love animals. I'm very passionate about animals too. And I just thought that marine biology would be another great thing for me to do. But there was always this pull at me to care for people and serve people at a much deeper level. And so I was the first person to sign up in my VOTEC, you know, going into 10th grade. Like I had already submitted all my paperwork. I was ready to go. And in cosmetology school, I actually thrived, and I was a straight A student. That was the only area that I was a straight A student because, like I said, I barely
Yeah.
could finish high school because of my math was horrible. Um, and so I think when we apply ourselves and we're very passionate about something, it's easy, you know, and I just knew in my heart and soul it's what I wanted to do. And I knew very early on, even in VOTEC, that I wanted to be a salon owner. You know,
Mm.
that was already in my mind that I wanted to own my own business.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I love the pivot.
Yeah,
That just like,
brainer,
what?
right?
What? Oh my God. Okay, so what's a common myth you get about what you do as a hairdresser, as an owner, as Nina Tulio, you know?
Well, I think, you know, common myths about just us being hairstylists, and I think
Mhm.
it's changing, is that this isn't a fruitful career. You know, it's so different now. And I think we've worked collectively to change that narrative. But I think that's the biggest misconception. It always has been, and it's always been looked upon as just a side hustle or just a hobby. And now, and I think COVID had played a big part in that pivot. You know, people got really wise to it and started to prioritize themselves and put their business first and put themselves first.
Mhm.
And I think we're doing a pretty good job of changing that misconception, but it's still, you know, it still swarms us. I think we're still kind of battling it, but we are more equipped to battle it these days. I think so.
Yeah. What's a trait that someone should have to be successful in the beauty industry?
Oh boy. Ooh, there's a couple of them. You know, I think my mind just literally went 15 different ways.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think about what it takes to become successful, and what I put at the top of the leaderboard, it would be mindset. You
Mm,
know, I took a course, a Harvard business course this past year, last year, for culture and leadership. And
cool.
one of the things that was a big part of that was their fixed mindset and growth mindset. And if we have two people who have the same opportunities, the same upbringing, the same resources, the same environment, and working in the same location, what's the difference between the one that's making it and the one that isn't? And it comes down to having a growth mindset.
Mm,
So the mindset really, and when you have a growth mindset, basically it means that you feel that the amount of work that you put in, putting hard work in, being open to change, being flexible, being open to feedback, these are all things that are going to contribute to your growth.
mhm,
The fixed mindset basically says no matter what I do, no matter how I apply myself, no matter how much money I spend on education, shit's not going to change. You know, and that's the difference. So mindset would be up there, but you know, right underneath it is consistent hard work. Because, you know, there was a narrative going on for a while before the pandemic, and then even slightly after, of this, you know, you could pick the days you want to work, and you can show up when you want to, and you can work 3 days a week, and you can make all this money, and you can do, and can that happen for people? Sure. But, you know, I was talking to Michael Cole one day, and I was like, you got to scale up to scale back.
mm,
And I think people they, it's a misrepresentation of like, oh, I'm going to come out of school and I'm just going to be booked and busy and I'm going to get to pick what I want to do and I'm going to niche down and I'm going to do all the things. And I'm like, what about the hard work? Because
mhm,
there isn't one single human on the planet, and I'm not even talking about in our industry, that
mhm,
hasn't worked incredibly hard to get to their desired level of success. And so those would be, and I said consistent hard work.
mhm.
You know, it's just not like when you want to do it. I mean, I'm in this business 27 years. I'm in my seventh year with my coaching business. I still work 12-hour days.
Mhm.
I still say yes to things that are free. I still work weekends. You know, it's just I don't do it all the time. But if it is aligning for me and I feel good about it and I'm making relationships and it's going to open up doors for me and it's an opportunity, yeah, I'm going to do it. So I think people miss that component, you know, and the
Mhm.
two, mindset, hard work.
Absolutely. You got to lose to win. You got to
Yeah,
slow down to speed up. And I like
absolutely.
how you put it to Michael Cole. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
So, as owners, what do we have to do? Forget that. Even just people in general, like what do we have to do to kind of get that message across to these kids, this generation that's coming up with that?
Well, the generational thing, I think we have to understand and we have to meet people where they are. We
Hmm.
can't assume that people are going to show up as us. We can't assume that they're going to want to run a business the way that we are. It never is going to happen. So we have to learn the behaviors behind what is motivating people. And we can't necessarily motivate people, but we can pull out their potential. People have to be self-motivated. So I think, when you're navigating this, it's clear communication. It's understanding what people actually want. It's coaching people to their own dreams and stop pushing your dreams on other people. I think it's really getting down to like taking the 16 personalities test and seeing how they operate and how they learn and what excites them. And I think it's taking the time to really get to know your people
Mm.
because my team was younger, a lot younger than, well, now I'm kind of wondering because I still talk to them. I'm like, wait a minute, I guess they weren't that much younger than me, but I would say maybe 9 years, some of them 10 years,
Okay.
some of them even more, right?
Hmm.
Um, and they worked freaking hard and they're still working hard. So I think it's finding the right people that align with your brand, but also understanding what makes them excited and
Mm.
communicating to them in a way that they understand and being flexible. That's one of the things that people are asking for is being flexible. But guess what? They also want to know how they're going to grow. So if you don't have a growth plan in your business, we can no longer fly by the seat of our pants because everybody since COVID has been exposed. We've got to be on top of our game these days. And yeah, are there people who maybe don't want to work as much that are younger? Sure. But there are people in older generations that don't want to work as hard either. So we have to, I always say, stop blaming the external and start looking
Mm.
internal. We have to look
Hmm.
internally first. Look within you and look within your business. The answers are there. And we have to stop blaming other people, but we also have to listen to what people are asking for.
Mm. Amen to that. Okay, so how are you nourishing yourself through all of this learning and leading?
I am I'm big on masterclass. There's two things, right? It's the educational piece for me, but it's also like the mental piece for me.
Mm.
Because just like working behind the chair and being a salon owner, I also there's a lot of output and we have to continue to fill ourselves. So I'll speak on both sides, but on the educational side, I love masterclass. I love learning from other coaches that are in the sports industry. I am fascinated by watching football coaches, basketball coaches, hockey coaches. Like that to me is there's such a mindset there that they are part of the 1%. And that mindset is very, very congruent to our own industry. And so when I'm looking for leadership, that's where I'll go first. Because if you can watch Gino, who is the basketball coach for UConn, the women's basketball coach, and you watch his masterclass and how he leads and how he gets people to participate and be a part of something and listens to them. And it's the same thing as leading a team. It's a higher level of leadership that I believe that we need in our industry. So that's my go-to. That will always be my go-to. I also love Simon Sinek. He is one of my absolute favorite leadership coaches because he speaks highly on servant leadership, which is what I believe in 1 million
Mhm.
percent.
Mhm.
And in that side, it would be that, or taking like a Harvard business class. Right now, I'm taking an accounting class, trying to always, elevate myself and how I'm showing up for my coaching clients and for my students. I don't I pay attention to what's going on in the industry, but for me, it's taking classes outside of the industry, which I
Yeah.
would imagine for you, it's similar.
Mhm.
And I also encourage salon owners and independent artists and commission stylists to do the same.
Yeah.
Like, look outside of this industry. There's great and amazing education here. But there's so much more fundamentals that we need to become successful in whatever that looks like for you outside of our industry. The mental side for me is always, it is the constant therapy. It is the constant self-reflection. It is, reading. I have cards from Untethered Soul, which I pull those cards and try to fill myself a little bit that way.
Mhm.
It is trying to be more diligent. It's working out.
Mhm.
I have a trainer because listen, if I don't have a trainer, I'm not showing up. I learned this about myself.
Yeah, it's
I'm
true.
older now, I'm in my 40s, so I have to make sure that I'm keeping strong and my bone
Mhm.
density and shit is up. So I have to have a trainer. That's the only way I'm going to do it. So it's more so moving my body. And you know what? The other thing too, it is really just trusting myself. Like I think when you
Mhm.
get into your 40s, you just stop giving a shit about pleasing other people because we are
Mhm.
in an industry where we are people pleasers by nature.
Mhm.
And when I hit my 40s, I was just like, this is exhausting. I mean, I've done a lot of work up to that point where I was kind of already pulling away from that. But now I think it's easier, more so to speak my mind. So hang tight. If you're not in your 40s yet, and if you're not looking forward to it, look forward to it because
Yeah.
it is a good time to be in that space of being more confident in self, but still feeling myself, whether
Mhm.
it not a big reader, but I can get into something that inspires me and I can read it
Mhm.
or podcasts or again, like something like Masterclass or even watching, like I watch on HBO, they have the Hard Knocks with the football teams. Like I
Okay.
am invested. Deion Sanders, like I'll watch Deion Sanders all day. Like I love his energy. I love his spirit and the way he leads. So find something like that that motivates you and inspires you and just kind of like go all in.
I love this. I love this. The whole idea of this podcast came about for exactly what you're talking about. Like we are beauty pros, we love what we do, we serve and
Mhm.
and that's what we live for, right? But we are so much more than that
Yeah.
outside of the salon. Like we have other interests. We don't just play Barbies all day. Like we for real like to do other things. The fact that you're talking about sports, I am so blown. Dolphin trainer, sports lover. Like, this is great. Exactly. Exactly. So, now what is your definition of success?
That's changed over the years for sure. Um, for me, success is doing what I love in a way that I love to do it in a way that fills me.
Yeah.
So if you would have asked me 10 years ago, it would have been uh, making sure that I'm making the most money and making sure that I can be financially secure, which that is important. I need to be
Mhm.
financially secure. A lot of my um, uh, trauma comes from that a little bit, so I'm
Mhm.
still working on healing that. So I need to be financially secure. But I think, it, man, it's just one of those things where I just lost my train of thought. What was it
It's
again?
okay. It's
What
okay,
was the
baby.
question? I have so many thoughts going through my mind. I'm like,
the
which direction do I want to go?
the definition of
Yes,
success.
it is. It's doing what I love to do in a way that I love to do it and in a pace that I want to do it and feeling filled. You know, I just I worked so hard to make money because I didn't have any.
Mhm.
And then I had it and then I lost it. And then I had it and I lost it a couple times and been through all that and being broke and just being in so much debt. And, I've worked really hard to get out of that.
Mhm.
And so I just feel like I don't lead from that space anymore. A lot of that too was also just filling that void that I talked about. I no longer need to fill that void. I no longer need that external validation. So for me, it's serving others. Like that is what fills my, ooh, this makes me emotional. That is what absolutely fills me. That to me is if I can serve people and I can help them have aha moments, and if I can make them see how beautiful they are and how talented they are, and if they can change their business in any way, that to me is I've made it. That's success for me at that level. And with that, the money comes. I just don't think about that anymore, because I think when you do what you're passionate about and you come from a very authentic space and you show up to serve and you're consistent in your hard work, the
Mhm.
money comes. So you're getting me all in my feels here. Like I don't
I
get to talk
love
about a
it.
lot of this
I
stuff, a
love
ton
it.
because it's, I'm busy working and doing my
Yeah.
things and showing up on Instagram. So this is so awesome. Great questions.
Awesome. So here's another one that might get you in your feels, but what do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for the impact that I make on other humans.
Mm.
Like I want people to say, oh, Nina, like she touched my soul. She helped me feel better about myself. She gave me the confidence to change things in my business. She left me feeling that I was special when I wasn't. That is what I just want people to know, that I deeply care for them and that I left some sort of imprint and some sort of impact on their life. And if I can achieve that, then again, that's a level of success for me, And so
Mhm.
I feel like the downside when you start to get into your 40s is you start to think like, oh shit, now I'm on the down slope. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
no.
not that I'm on the downslope, but you start to think like I never would think about death or anything. That just never
Mhm.
really, that just don't live in that space. But the past couple of years, it just starts to get closer. You think about it.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to Ryan Whedon about this, and there's a video out there that we were talking about this, and like I just want to be able to do the things that I want to do and impact the people um that want to make a difference. And I just feel like every day gets closer to the end, so I just want to enjoy every moment. I just want to
Mhm.
enjoy every moment. And that Nina from 10 years ago wouldn't speak like that because I just was so um still healing, that I was still seeking external validation. And when that thing shifts, that's a serious shift. And so
Mhm.
hang on tight, guys, because it's coming and it's good. It is a good thing, minus the crepey skin and the the weird hormones, but everything else is good.
So, what insult have you ever gotten that today you are so proud of?
You know what? I love this question. So I remember I was doing hair, and simultaneously I was working at Circuit City. I don't even know if you remember what
I
Circuit City was,
remember
like an
Circuit
electronic
City.
place, right?
Totally.
So
Yeah.
I was working at Circuit City and I was a manager there. I went through their management training for a whole week. It was amazing. It actually changed me. It was very cool. And I will never forget, one of their district managers said to me that I wouldn't be a good leader because I'm too high strung. You have too much, you're too high strung and you have too high energy and you wouldn't make a good leader. And I think about that a lot.
Mhm.
I think about it not in a negative way. I think about it like, thank you for that,
Yeah.
because that pushed me to dig deeper into myself, because I knew from a young age that I was a leader, that just I felt that in my soul.
Mhm.
And when he said that to me, I was like, what? Like it hurt me. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is horrible. Like, why would you even say that to me? And I remember getting up and walking out of that meeting, and I quit shortly thereafter that. But I remember thinking, wow, is that true? If someone says that to you, just because somebody says something to you doesn't mean it's the truth.
Mhm.
But if they
Right.
look at you and they say it to you with passion, it stings.
Right.
And so I do think about that. And I'm like, okay, now what? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Now just take a look and see what's going on in my life right now, because I'm so fortunate that I just get to share so many cool things with so
Mhm.
many freaking cool people. And I use that as inspiration. I think
Yeah.
about it sometimes when I have my moments with my anxiety, or I'm struggling to get up, or, just show up. And I'm like, I think about it and I'm like, nope. What is your why? Why are you here? Why are you showing up? Lean into that. And I think about
Mhm.
that sometimes. And I'm like, thanks, man. You pushed me. I take all of those things, and the people that have said things to me that haven't been the best, I always turn it into a positive,
Yeah.
because it's always there too. We have an option. We can sit in it, we can stew on it, and we can allow it to control us, or we can take control of it. And it took me some time, but I allowed it to help me kind of
Yeah.
be a leader and do what I really love to do. So thanks, my friend.
Have you
I,
ever seen
I
that
will
guy
not name
again?
him. No,
Okay.
I
No,
won't.
no, no, it's
I
fine.
won't.
But no, that's fine. But have you ever seen him again and been like, thank you? No,
No, no. I
no.
don't know. I don't know how, I wonder how I would respond sometimes. I could be, it could go either way where I could be like, like sarcastic, like, thank you
Yeah.
so much for saying that. Or I could say like, are you freaking kidding? Like, why would you say that? It could really go either way,
Right.
depending on the day.
Depends on the day and your mood and everything else. I
Yeah,
get that.
you're either gonna get the Pisces Nina, which is like, oh my God, thank you so much. I love that you said that to me because it
Oh,
changed me, or you're gonna get the rising sign of me, which is Leo, where I'm gonna just be a lion and I'm gonna be like,
I'm
you
gonna kill you.
freaking serious with this right now? Like, what were you thinking? Why would you say that to someone? Like,
Yeah.
you suck. No, I would never say that. I couldn't say that to somebody.
So, what's an area? It could be with hair, your personal life, whatever, that no one agrees with you about.
Oh man. Um, an area that no one agrees with me about. That's a tough one. I don't know. I don't, we may have to circle back. I have to think
Okay.
about that. I don't know if I ever have, I'm trying to think, was there a situation like with my friends where I'm like, no, even with my husband, which sometimes there we can, go in opposite
Well, of
direction.
course. Yeah.
Um, in the industry, I don't know. I can't really think of one. I can't think of one at the moment. Maybe I will
We'll come
shortly.
back. We'll come back. We'll come
Okay.
back. Okay. So, what will the industry look like in 5 years?
The industry, what will it look like in 5 years? I think that, well, I'd hope to say that we would be more cohesive.
Mhm.
I would hope to think that we would be more supportive
Mhm.
of all of the aspects of our business, whether you're a commissioned hairstylist, you're an independent artist, you're a commissioned salon owner, or hybrid. I would hope that we can understand all of the facets of the industry so we can work together to kind of continue to build the industry. I also feel that, there will be some shifts, and I've been talking about it now, probably it's got to be at least a year and a half, where I feel like because there were so many people going into suites and going out on their own and going into chair rental, I think that will circle around a little bit. I think we'll see a little bit of a movement where uh, independents will want to go into commission salons, and I've seen it start to happen a little bit.
Mm.
But there'll always be room for suites. There'll always be room for independence. And despite what people say about the commission salon dying, there will always be room for the commission salon. But the commission salon needs to continue to change and be more flexible, be more malleable, uh, uh, be more open to change and not live. I talk a lot about living in the old school mindset,
Mhm.
getting out of that old school mindset and welcoming to 2024 and beyond. So
Mhm.
I think a lot of good things will change. I also think people will start to take us a lot more seriously. I think people are now, but I
Mhm.
think that's also going to change. I think the respect level will increase for our business, but I think we will keep moving and keep shifting, and there'll be ups and downs where we'll have a flux of people going out on their own, and we'll have a flux of people going into commission. We'll have a spike in commission owners, and we'll have a downturn on. I think that is always going to be a constant movement. But I hope that we would be in a much better place, support in the support department, and also in a much better space of understanding that there just is way more than one way to run a business.
Mm.
And we need to stop shaming each other for pricing, and we need to stop shaming each other for pricing structures and shaming each other for how people are running their businesses or choosing what to do. And, I would hope that that would also shift and change too.
Yeah, for sure. I think ego is a big part of that, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ego and judgment for sure.
Ugh. So, what's one lesson that you have learned as a beauty professional that you wish everyone in the entire planet would get to?
Listen to your gut.
Mm.
Hands down, 1,000,000%. I will scream it from the rooftops.
Yeah.
When you are thinking about hiring someone and you're getting that feeling and it's not going to work, listen to your gut. When you are thinking about moving into a new salon space and you get that feeling, but you're excited, listen to your gut.
Mhm.
Learn to trust yourself. because it's really truly the only person that you can 1,000,000% rely on. And I think I would have saved a little bit of heartbreak, which I don't
Yeah.
regret any of it because it allows me to show up here today. But
Mhm.
I would have saved a little bit of heartbreak and a lot of money if I would have listened to my gut. And so I think
Yeah.
we have to learn how to trust ourselves more. And owners, trust your decisions, um, trust your thought process. I think that, and trust your judgment. I
Yeah.
think that is just, man, if we could just listen to ourselves a little bit more, sometimes we need to learn the lessons, so it's
Mhm.
good. Um, but trust yourself and believe in yourself for sure.
Yeah. So we're gonna go back to that question. What's one thing no one agrees with you about?
I don't have anything. What am I, what I'm thinking too, like, is there a policy or is there something? Um, I don't know.
All right. We'll just take
I
it.
can I get a pass on that one?
Yeah, we'll take it. Forget it.
I can't think of one, really.
What's going on in Nina Tulio's business world that people can get a part of right now?
So I'm so pumped that I get to do a lot more traveling this year. So I get to reach a lot more souls in person. So I'm going to be out and about. I have classes and working with oligo professional and their distributors and all the things. So make sure you check out my website because I have the list of all of my events in the cities that I'm going to be in. So that excites me. I have my Make That Money course, which has been around now for over 3 years, and that's for the independent artist. But I just launched a self-paced version, which is just on budgeting and pricing. So making more money with your profit, understanding profit margin and pricing. So if you need something immediate, you could do that. But also, I have a ton of free resources. I have free profit calculators on my website. I have free pricing classes. I have ebooks that you can get for like 19 and $37. Like, I really try to make my education very affordable. So I would just hop on my website and check out all the things. And so I have two podcasts. I have my podcast with my best friend, No Stylist Left Behind, and we are going on our 5th year with my best friend, Mr. Jay Ladner. But I have recently started my own podcast called Make That Money. So it's Make That Money with Nina Tulio, and it's all profit, pricing, product, taxes, very minimal guests on that podcast, but any guest that I have will be all in the money space. So I just started that in the beginning of January. So please feel free to check out No Stylist Left Behind and Make That Money and get your financial shit all the way together.
I lo- all the way, all the way together.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. So, final question. What is one question that you wish I would have asked that I did not, and how would you have answered?
Oh man, where did you come up with these questions? These are good.
Thanks.
Uh, One question that I wish you would have asked. Man, you covered a lot of ground. Um, I'll go with the answer that I think a lot of people end their podcast with, and that's what piece of advice would you give to
Okay.
um, what piece of advice would you give to stylists that are still growing, up and
Mhm.
coming, salon owners that are new, up and coming? And my answer would be to take your time,
Mhm.
slow down, absorb as much education as you can, stop trying to speed up the process, focus on your own journey, and enjoy the journey, enjoy the
Mhm.
ride, and don't feel like you have to be where someone else is, because there's a comparison thing that we have, and I think it really stunts a lot of growth in our industry. And I would really just say, like, if you're going to go into a commission space, find a leader and a salon owner that 1,000,000% supports you
Mhm.
and has a growth plan for you, and that really is, um, dedicating a lot of their time and energy into helping you grow. Now, listen, stylist, you got to show up and do the work. It's a partnership. You can't expect the owner to do all the things for you. You've got to show up and do the work too. But I think also focus on yourself.
Yeah.
Write out what your level of success looks like. What does that mean to you? Write out what your why is. Write out what, the what and the why behind your goals. Like a lot of times we create goals and we don't hit them because there's no why behind them. There's nothing tangible to make us be committed to them.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of information, but whatever, gather bits and pieces from that, I think just focus on yourself, education, invest in yourself. Don't compare your journey to everyone else and enjoy the ride, every single moment of it. Because before you know it, you're going to be like me, 27 years in. And I'm like, where the hell did time go?
Mm.
So enjoy every moment of this beautiful industry.
I love that so much. I'm applying it to my own self. I have a bad habit of going 100 miles an hour. So thank you for
Yes,
that.
same. Of
So
course.
that is our episode today. I am so grateful that you came on, Miss
Thank
Nina.
you.
And listener, I hope you got a lot of notes. I hope you took notes. And until next time.